In the 1920s, America experienced colossal economic growth and underwent drastic changes following the invention of various technological advancements, a period of time named the Roaring Twenties. Assisted by the market revolution and the Gilded Age, America became easily the most industrialized nation in the world. Developments of this era made profound impacts on modern American culture. Like never before, industrialization prompted the distinction between work and leisure. The emergence of commercialized mass culture gave working-class people an extended amount of leisure time, in which among the most popular leisure activities was going to see films. In these films, people were introduced and homogenized to dance, slang, and other features that defined modern American culture. The rise of film and the cinema, as a leisure activity in the 1920s in America, facilitated the spread of mass American culture across the continent, thus defining the term American. Prior to the 1920s, sparse neighborhood Nickelodeons had existed. Cinemas where admittance cost only 5 cents. At the start of the 1920s, these Nickelodeons became widespread across towns and cities, along with the creation of larger movie theaters called picture palaces. Movies originated as a highly commercialized urban folk art that appealed to a very diverse audience and became regular recreation for typical wage-earning families. Chicago, one of the major cities in the U.S. at the time, reached its highest level of movie showings by the end of the 1920s. By 1929, Chicago had enough movie theater seats to seat one-half of the city's population in the course of one day. This 400-seat pastime theater on West Madison Street typified the small neighborhood theaters that workers frequented during the 1920s. In 1924, admission was only 25 cents. In contrast to these neighborhood theaters like the Pastime, there were also theaters like the 4,000-seat Tivoli Theater at Cottage Grove and 63rd Street on the south side of Chicago. Admission was $1 in 1924. That price, plus the car fare required from most working-class neighborhoods, ensured that middle-class people, not workers, were the primary patrons. Actors and actresses like Greta Garbo, Rudolph Valentino, and Charlie Chaplin became famous for their roles in popular 1920s movies. Popular movies included The Jazz Singer, the first film with synchronized voices, which was a fictional story about a boy who defied his devout Jewish family and became a talented and highly acclaimed jazz singer, and The Gold Rush, a movie produced, directed, written, and starred in by Charlie Chaplin, about a greedy man seeking fortune. This movie introduced the roll dance, a scene shown here, which is replicated and remembered in future movies, such as Chaplin, released in 1992, and also in shows like The Simpsons. Along with other popular movies, these films incorporated music, mostly jazz at the time, to use as background music. With the recent introduction of synchronizing sound into film, people had varying opinions. According to Monta Bell, a famous Hollywood producer in the 1920s, never in the history of the industry was there, or is there, such divergence of opinion or such feverish activity. Along with most, he believed that incorporating synchronized sound would lift the pictures out of the ordinary and give them new life. As movies became more popular, especially with the addition of dialogue, the term American was defined through the way characters were depicted in films. Films included popular attire and activities from the time, essentially providing the viewers with a portrayal of how Americans should look and how they should act. Furthermore, women on the screen were depicted as rich, classy, and beautiful, making girls viewing feel dissatisfied with themselves. Herbert Plummer, a sociologist at University of Chicago at the time, commented that many girls began to see their lives as drab and confined in contrast to the pleasures and freedoms of those portrayed on the screen. Not only did film in the Roaring Twenties help spread music, dialogue, and other aspects of modern American culture, but it also gave the American public a clear view on what a normal American should be like. In many ways, the cinema adequately embodied the changes of the early 20th century. It was art, entertainment, culture, industry, and a social institution of enormous appeal and growing power.